Hi everyone and welcome to this new grammar video. So today's video is about possessive pronouns, possessive adjectives, and reflexive pronouns. So let's begin with the possessive pronouns and possessive adjectives. Let's read the rule at first. A pronoun usually refers to something already mentioned in a sentence or piece of text. They are used instead of nouns to prevent repetition of the noun to which they refer. So just to summarize this definition, the pronoun is used to replace another noun in the sentence. So this is the main objective of using pronouns. It's just to prevent repetition. One of the most common pronouns is it, and the lovely thing about it is that there's no gender. So here, as we know all, that it is the third person singular and it has no gender. So that is clear. So let's continue with subject pronouns that are I, you, and just notice that you is both for second singular and for the second plural. So I, you, he, she, it. And for the plural, we, you, they. Now the object pronouns. Me, you, him, her, it. And for the plural, us, you, them. Determiner and possessive adjective. So just to precise that the determiner and the possessive adjective aren't they are not pronouns. So the determiners aren't pronouns because they don't replace a noun in the sentence. And we'll see that later in the video. So we have a full explanation of the difference between the determiners and the pronouns. So, but these determiners should be studied at the same level with pronouns because they resemble their uses resemble to the uses of the pronouns. So let's read determiners. The determiners are my, your, his, her, its, and for the plural form, our, your, their. Now the possessive pronouns. The possessive pronouns. Mine, yours, his, hers, its. And in the plural, ours, yours, theirs. And finally, the reflexive pronouns. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself. And in the plural form, ourselves, yourself, themselves. So now let's go to pronouns and an example with a pronoun in a singular form. So let's read a sentence without using a pronoun. The train was late. The train had been delayed. So here we notice that there is a repetition of the word the train. So it sounds a bit horrid. It sounds a bit horrid. So to prevent this repetition, we should use a pronoun. And the pronoun that we should use is it, because the train is in the singular form and it has no gender. It is an object. The train was late. It had been delayed. The train was late. It had been delayed. So here we prevent repetition and we have used the subject pronoun it. In this example, the train is singular, Therefore, the pronoun must be singular also. So we use here it. Now let's see an example of a plural pronoun. And the same sentence in the plural. The trains were late. The trains had been delayed. So here still sounds horrid, doesn't it? Yes. So we have a repetition of the word the trains. So now let's use a pronoun. The trains were late. They had been delayed much better. The trains were late. They had been delayed. So here it's much better to use they because we have replaced the noun the trains. In this example, the trains are plural. Therefore, the pronoun must be plural also. So we use they. So we have a note, the possessive determiner is not a pronoun as we said before. The possessive determiner is not a noun. And let's see some examples. So we have this sentence, Jane's brother is married to John's sister. So her brother is married to his sister. Here we have her. That is a possessive determiner. Her brother is married to his sister. His is a possessive determiner. And it's not a pronoun because it doesn't fit to the definition of pronouns, that is, replace a noun in a sentence. So here, her brother, we don't replace any noun. Her brother, married to his sister. So it is a possessive determiner. His sister, the sister of him. So let's give more examples. Peter and his sister. Peter and his sister. So as we notice that the possessive determiner is placed before the noun. So we have here sister, and the possessive determiner is placed before the noun, his sister. Jane and her father. Do you know where your books are? Is this their picnic? No, it is ours. I think this is your passport. Yes, it is mine. So pronouns replace nouns. So this is the main objective of using pronouns. Pronouns replace nouns. A different pronoun is required depending on two elements. The noun being replaced, so the first one of these elements is the noun being replaced. So we should replace a noun. And the function that noun has in the sentence. And the second element is the function that the noun has in the sentence. It is a subject or an object. In English, pronouns only take the gender of the noun they replace in the third person singular form for he, she. The second person plural pronouns are identical to the second person singular pronouns except for the reflexive pronouns. So you in the second person, and for the reflexive pronouns himself, herself. And let's continue here. We have already read this. Yes, and let's continue with the subject pronouns. Subject pronouns. And as we said before, subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. So subject pronouns replace nouns that are the subject of their clause. So subject pronouns replace subject nouns, the nouns that are the subject in their clause. In the third person, subject pronouns are often used to avoid repetition of the subject's name. So in the third person, that means he, she, and it. Subject pronouns are often used to avoid repetition of the subject's name. Let's see some examples. I am 16, so the subject pronoun is I. You seem lost. You is the subject pronoun. Jim is angry and he wants Sally to apologize. He is the subject pronoun, and here it is in the third person singular and it replaces Jim. So we don't say Jim is angry and Jim wants Sally to apologize. So Jim is angry and he wants Sally to apologize. This table is old, it needs to be repainted. So that's the same with it. This table is old, the table needs to be repainted, so we use it. This table is old, it needs to be repainted. We aren't coming, they don't like pancakes. So now let's go to object pronouns. Object pronouns. And object pronouns are used to replace nouns that are the direct or indirect object of a subject. So to use object pronouns, we have to replace a direct or indirect object noun. So give the book to me. So me is an object pronoun. The teacher wants to talk to you. Jack is hurt because Bill hit him. Rashid received a letter from her last week. Mark can't find it. Don't be angry with us. Tell them to hurry up. So now let's go to possessive adjectives or determiners. So as we said that possessive adjectives and determiners aren't pronouns because they don't replace nouns in the sentence. So let's read the rule. Possessive adjectives are not pronouns, but rather determiners. It is useful to learn them at the same time as pronouns. However, because they are similar in form to the possessive pronouns, possessive adjectives function as adjectives. So they appear before the noun they modify. So here their function is like an adjective and it appears before the noun it modifies. They do not replace a noun as pronouns do. So this is why they aren't pronouns. They do not replace a noun as pronouns do. So let's give some examples. Did mother find my shoes? My shoes. So my is the determiner and it isn't a pronoun because and it is replaced before the noun shoes. Did mother find my shoes? Mrs. Baker wants to see your homework. Can Jack bring over his baseball cards? Samantha will fix her bike tomorrow. The cat broke its leg. This is our house. Where is their school? So now let's go to possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns replace possessive nouns as either the subject or the object of a clause. Because the noun being replaced doesn't appear in the sentence, it must be clear from the context. So here for the possessive pronouns, the noun that they replace isn't mentioned in the sentence, but we can deduce it from the context. So let's give some examples. This bag is mine. So we don't say this bag is my bag. So we have a repetition of the word bag. So this bag is mine. Yours is not blue. That bag looks like his. These shoes are not hers. That car is ours. Theirs is parked in the garage. So finally, reflexive and intensive pronouns. Reflexive and intensive pronouns are the same set of words, but they have different functions in a sentence. So we have reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns. They are the same, but their function aren't the same. Reflexive pronouns refer back to the subject of the clause because the subject of the action is also the direct or indirect object. Only certain types of verbs can be reflexive. You cannot remove a reflexive pronoun from a sentence because the remaining sentence would be grammatically incorrect. So this is the main difference between reflexive and intensive pronouns. For reflexive pronouns, we can't remove them in the sentence. If we remove the reflexive pronoun, the sentence loses its meaning. But in the intensive pronouns, there's a slight or even no difference if we remove the intensive pronouns. So let's go with the reflexive pronouns. I told myself to calm down. So here we can't remove myself. I told myself to calm. So it is a reflexive pronoun. So it is a reflexive pronoun. I told myself to calm down. You cut yourself on this nail. He hurt himself on the stairs. She found herself in a dangerous part of the town. So we can't remove herself. We can't say she found in a dangerous part of town. Found what? So she found herself in a dangerous part of town. So it is a reflexive pronoun. The cat threw itself under my car. We blame ourselves for the fire. The children can take care of themselves. Now and lastly, the intensive pronouns. Intensive pronouns emphasize the subject of a clause. They are not the object of the action. The intensive pronoun can always be removed from a sentence. So this is important. This is the main difference. We can remove the intensive pronouns. The intensive pronoun can always be removed from a sentence without changing the meaning significantly. Although the emphasis on the subject will be removed, intensive pronouns can be replaced immediately after the subject of the clause or at the end of the clause. Let's give some examples. I made these cookies myself. So here I can remove this intensive pronoun and say I made these cookies and it's still grammatically correct. You yourself asked Jack to come. The Pope herself pardoned Mr. Brown. My teacher didn't know the answer herself. The test itself wasn't scary, but my teacher certainly is. We would like to finish the renovation before Christmas ourselves. They themselves told me the lost shoe wasn't a problem. They themselves told me the lost shoe wasn't a problem. So this is the end of this video. So if you like it, there are many other videos dealing with grammar in my channel, so you can return to them and to deepen your knowledge of grammar. So that is and to another video.